stranger in the land of Canaan. There are the generations of Jacob, Joseph being 17 years old, and was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and the sons of Zilpah, and his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. When his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and they could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaf stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams, and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out on the vow to Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And certain men found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the men said, They are departed hence. I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near to them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said to one another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will come of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto him, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. They took him and cast him into the pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bringing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother, and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there came passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph unto Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren, and said, This child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This we have found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. And evil beasts had devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Joseph rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, For will I go down into the grave unto my son's mourning? Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, and the captain of the guard. ヤコブは父の気流の地、すなわちカナンの地に住んだ。ヤコブの子孫は次の通りである。ヨセフは17歳の時、兄弟たちと共に羊の群れを飼っていた。彼らはまた子供で父の妻たちビルハと、シルバの子らと共にいたが、ヨセフは彼らの悪い噂を父に告げた。ヨセフは年寄り子であったから、イスラエルは他のどの子よりも彼を愛して、彼のために長袖の着物を作った。兄弟たちは父がどの兄弟よりも彼を愛するのを見て、彼を憎み、穏やかに彼に語ることができなかった。ある時、ヨセフは夢を見て、それを兄弟たちに話したので、彼らはますます彼を憎んだ。ヨセフは彼に言った。どうぞ私が見た夢を聞いてください。私が畑の中で束を祝っていた時、私の束が起きて立つと、あなたの束は周りに来て、私の束を拝みました。すると兄弟たちは彼に向かって、あなたは本当に私の王になるのか、あなたは実際私たちを治めるのかと言って、彼の夢とその言葉のゆえにますます彼を憎んだ。ヨセフはまた一つの夢を見て、それを兄弟たちに語っていった。私はまた夢を見ました。火と月と11の星が私を拝みました。彼はこれを父と兄弟たちに語ったので、父は彼を咎めていった。あなたが見たその夢はどういうのか、本当に私とあなたの母と兄弟たちとが行って地に伏し、あなたを拝むのか。兄弟たちは彼を妬んだ。しかし父はこの言葉を心に留めた。さて、兄弟たちがシケムに行って父の羊の群れを飼っていたとき、イスラエルはヨセフに言った。あなたの兄弟たちはシケムで羊を飼っているではないか。さあ、あなたを彼のところへ使わそう。ヨセフは父に言った。はい、行きます。父は彼に言った。どうか行って、あなたの兄弟たちは無事であるか、また群れは無事であるかを見てきて私に知らせてください。父が彼をヘブロンの谷から使わしたので、彼はシケムに行った。一人の人が彼に会い、彼が野をさまよっていたので、その人は彼に尋ねていった。あなたは何を探しているのですか？彼は言った。兄弟たちを探しているのです。彼らはどこへで羊を飼っているか、どうぞ私に知らせてください。その人は言った。彼らはここを去りました。彼らはドランへ行こうというのを私は聞きました。そこでヨセフは兄弟たちの後を追って行って、ドランで彼らに会った。ヨセフが彼らに近づかないうちに、彼らははるかにヨセフを見て、これを殺そうと図り、互いに言った。あの夢を見る者がやってくる。さあ、彼を殺して穴に投げ入れ、悪い獣を彼に食ったと言おう。そして彼の夢がどうなるか見よう。ルベンはこれを聞いてヨセフを彼らの手から救い出そうとしていった。我々は彼の命を取ってはならない。ルベンはまた彼らに言った。血を流してはいけない。彼をこの穴に投げ入れよう。彼に手を下してはならない。俺はヨセフを彼らの手から救い出して父に返すためであった。さてヨセフが兄弟たちのもとへ行くと、彼らはヨセフの着物、彼が着ていた長袖の着物を剥ぎ取り、彼を捕らえて穴に投げ入れた。その穴は空で、その中に水はなかった。こうして彼らは座ってパンを食べた。時に彼らが目を上げてみると、イシュマエル人の大将がラクダに香料と乳香ともつ薬とを合わせてエジプトへ下り行こうとギリアデからやってきた。そこでイラは兄弟たちに言った。我々が弟を殺し、その血を隠して何の益があろう。さあ我々は彼をイシュマエル人に売ろう。彼は我々の兄弟、我々の肉親だから彼に手を下してはならない。兄弟たちはこれを聞き入れた。時にミディアン人の商人たちが通りかかったので、彼らはヨセフの穴から引き上げ、銀20シケルでヨセフをイシュマエル人に売った。彼らはヨセフをエジプトへ連れて行った。さて、ルベンは穴に帰ってみたが、ヨセフが穴の中にいなかったので、彼らはいぶくを裂き、兄弟たちを元に帰っていった。あの子はいない。ああ、私はどこへ行くことができよう。彼らはヨセフの着物を取り、 親木を殺して着物をその地に浸し、その長袖の着物を父に持ち帰っていった。私たちはこれを見つけましたが、これはあなたの子の着物がどうか、見定めてください。父はこれを見定めていった。我が子の着物だ。悪い獣が彼を食ったのだ。確かにヨセフは噛み裂かれたのだ。そこでヤコブは胃袋を裂き、雨布を腰にまとって長い間、その子のために嘆いた。ホラと娘とは皆立って彼を慰めようとしたが、彼は慰められるのを拒んでいった。いや、私は嘆きながら、地獄に下って我が子のもとへ行こう。こうして父は彼のために泣いた。さて、かのミディアン人らはエジプトでパロの役に自衛長ポティピナにヨセフを売った。And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned to a certain Adamite whose name was Hera. And Judah saw that there was a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her. She conceived and bare a son, and called his name She conceived again and bare a son, and she named him Onan. Yet she again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Selah, and he was Chezib, when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go in and unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went on into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at thy father's house, till Selah my son be grown. For he said, Lest peradventure he die also. And his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. In the process of time, the daughter of Shelah, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers to Timnah, and he and his friend Hira the Adamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in the open place, which is by the way to Timnah, for she saw that Selah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. And when Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it to her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adumite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then asked he the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah, and he said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in the place. Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months later that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. When she saw she was brought forth, she sent her to her father-in-law, saying, By man, whose these are? Am I with child? She said, Discern, I pray thee, where are these? The signet, the bracelets, and the staff. And Judah acknowledged them. And she said, She hath been more righteous than I. because that I gave her not to Salah my son. And he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, the twins were in the womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This come out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that, behold, his brother came out. And he said, How hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Phares. Afterwards came out his brother, that had a scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. その頃、イラの兄弟たちは離れて下り、アドラム人で、なお、ヒラという者のところへ行った。イラはそのところで、なお、シュワというカナン人の娘を見て、これをめとり、そのところに入った。彼女は身ごもって男の子を産んだので、イラはその名をエルと名付けた。彼女は再び身ごもって男の子を産み、名をオナンと名付けた。また重ねて男の子を産み、名をシダと名付けた。彼女はこの男の子を産んだとき、クジラにおった。イラは長子エルのためになおタマルという妻を迎えた。しかしユダの長子エルは主の前に悪いものであったので、主は彼を殺された。そこでユダはオナンに言った。兄の妻のところに入って彼女をめとり、兄に子供たちを得させなさい。しかしオナンはその子が自分のものとならないのを知っていたので、兄の妻のところに入ったとき、兄に子を得させないために、血を漏らした。彼のしたことは主の前に悪かったので、主は彼を殺された。そこでユダはその子の妻、タルマに言った。私の子、シラが成人するまで、カフのままで、あなたの父の家にいなさい。彼はシラもまた兄弟たちのように死ぬかもしれないと思ったからである。そこでタマルは行って父の家におった。日が経ってシュワの娘、ユラの妻は死んだ。その後、タラはもう終わって、その友、アロラム人、ヒラと共に、テナムに登り、自分の羊の毛を切る者のところへ行った。時に一人の人がタマルに告げて、あなたの姑が羊の毛を切るためにテムナに登ってくると言ったので、彼女はカフの衣服を脱ぎ捨て、担ぎで身を覆い隠して、テムナへ行く道の傍らにあるエナイムの入り口に座っていた。彼女はシラが成人したのに、自分がその妻にされないのを知ったからである。イラは彼女を見たとき、彼女が顔を覆っていたため遊女だと思い、道の傍らにで彼女に向かって言った。さあ、あなたのところに入らせておくれ。彼女はこの女が我が子の妻であることを知らなかったからである。彼女は言った。私のところに入るため何をくださいますか？イラは言った。群れのうちのヤギの子をあなたにあげよう。彼女は言った。それをくださるまで印と私にくださいますか？イラは言った。どんな印をあげようか？彼女は言った。あなたの印と、紐をあなたの手にある杖と。彼はこれらを与えて彼女のところに入った。彼女はイラによって身ごもった。彼女は起きて去り、担ぎを脱いでカフの衣服を着た。やがてイラはその女から印を取り戻そうと、その友、アドラム人に託してヤギの子を送ったけれども、その女を見出せなかった。そこで彼はそのところの人々に尋ねていった。エナイムで道の傍らにいた遊女はどこにいますか？彼は言った。ここには遊女はいません。彼はユダのもとに帰っていった。私は彼女を見出せませんでした。またそのところの人々は、ここには遊女はいないと言いました。そこでユダは言った。女に持たせておこう。私たちは恥をかくといけないから。とにかく私はこのヤギの子を送ったが、あなたは彼女を見出せなかった。ところが、3月ほど経って、一人の人がユダに言った。あなたの嫁タマルは会員しました。その上、彼女は会員によって身ごもりました。イラは言った。彼女を引き出して焼いてしまえ。彼女は引き出されたとき、その舅に人を使わしていった。 私はこれを持っている人によって身ごもりました。彼女はまた言った。どうかこの印と紐と杖とは誰のものか見定めてください。色はこれを見定めていった。彼女は私よりも正しい。私が彼女を我が子をシダに与えなかったためである。彼は再び彼女を知らなかった。さて、彼女の出産の時が来たが、体内には双子があった。出産の時に一人の子が手を出したので、サンバはこれが先に出たと言い、火の糸を取ってその手に結んだ。そしてその子が手を引っ込めると、その弟が出たので、どうしてあなたは自分の破って出るのかと言った。これによって名をペレツと呼ばれた。その時、手に火の糸のある兄が出たので、名はゼラと呼ばれた。